Hello there, this is sort of an impromptu video. Basically, I'm making this because I promised to several of my subscribers and two of my donors that I'll be making an impromptu video right after the US elections. Now, looking back on that from an embarrassment standpoint, maybe I shouldn't have made that promise. But nevertheless, yeah, Trump is the new US president. As I'm recording this, both Politico and Fox News have called the election. President Trump is the reality until 2020, 2021, whatever. Basically, the only thing that I have to say, and this is why I'm regretful for having made that promise, because basically, I've been up for the last 12 hours looking at coverage, reading news after news and story after story. I'm a news junkie, I can't help it. And for such an event, which I called in my Trump endorsement video, the most interesting event of the decade, for such an event, at least for the decade so far, for such an event, of course, I had myself prepared with lots of wine and cigarettes and coffee, and very good internet connection, and watching 4 or 5 live streams simultaneously. Can you imagine how nice it is to look at the Young Turks? I mean, the Young Turks coverage was absolutely glorious. So, in order to fulfill my promise, I'll just say whatever pops through my mind in the next few minutes. The first thing that comes to mind is that we as non-leftists get the right to gloat, and especially get the right to enjoy the entirety of butthurt that will flow endlessly, at least for 1 month, probably more than 1 month, from all the usual suspects. You know them, the MSLSD, the Clinton News Network, all the lefties in Europe. I mean, come on, I haven't opened the BBC yet, but I'm pretty sure there's already lots of butthurt there. Remember, as I'm recording this, it's roughly 8 a.m. in Britain. It's 10 a.m. On my neck of the woods. So the day has just started in Europe, whilst America will be sleeping, because probably most Americans will see this video very late in the evening today. Whilst America is sleeping, European leftists will be busy conducting lots of butthurt and printing lots of butthurt over there, and lots of oh my god, how could this be possible? Because they don't understand anything. They don't understand agitprop, they don't understand politics, they don't. It's all emotion for them. I'm actually glad that I released the video about agitprop as Americans were voting, because now I can just reference back to it and say, I told you so. Anyway, the second thing that comes to mind is the statement by the French ambassador to the United States. Now, I don't have the statement in front of me now because, again, this is an impromptu video, but and I'm quoting from memory. They showed it on Fox News. He basically said that we are witnessing our world unfolding. No, sorry, splitting and being destroyed right in front of our eyes. And the thing is that the French ambassador is correct. The world that he and all the people like him, the world that they built, this what now it's been colloquially named as globalist, which is, well, whatever. It's a decent term, not the most perfect, not the best term possible. But anyway, the globalist order that they built is not necessarily collapsing, but definitely suffering significant blows. And of course, the French ambassador is also correct to reference Brexit and just say that this is a continuation of that phenomenon. That's true. The thing is that they're only realizing it now. I mean, those of us on the non-leftist side of the aisle have been calling this thing for months and months and months, and in the case of Trump, the most ardent Trump supporters, which I am not one and was not one, but nevertheless, the most ardent Trump supporters have been calling for this for almost 2 years now. Because remember, this whole thing started way into 2015. It was still the current year, as all the progressives were thinking that they had everything in the bag and everything was already set. there were people who believed in this, which is amazing. I mean, that amount of enthusiasm, that amount of support is hard to it is hard to predict. Although I would have to say that it's probably the I mean, the leftist press called it the enthusiasm gap, but that was a way to justify the fact that Clinton was faltering. But there was an enthusiasm gap. It's simple. If most of the people who voted for Trump voted either because they liked him, and this is CNN speaking. It was roughly 4 hours ago, so whatever 5-6 hours ago. By the time I'll be uploading and publishing this. But basically, the CNN was quoting some poll that said that 45% of the people who voted because they liked their candidate, 25% voted because they hated the opposition, and then there was another 10 to 15% contingent that voted because they thought the candidate was interesting. Now, that almost all of those are Trump voters for sure, because who the hell thinks that Clinton is interesting? I mean, come on, you gotta be kidding me. And that was the thing. Trump managed to be interesting, and this is a rather unique, well, not necessarily unique, but very rare phenomenon, not just in American politics, but world politics in general. It's just a fact that Trump was interesting. Trump is interesting. The thing is, whilst I'm recording this, probably Trump is holding a speech at the Trump HQ, and that's a bit annoying. I'm going to miss that. I'm going to have to watch it recorded, but that's not an issue. So yeah, Trump managed to be interesting, which is something that matters in politics. The same thing happened with Reagan. Reagan was interesting. Not only he was a good communicator and had good policies and yada yada yada, but he was interesting, and that tends to matter. Now, obviously, I'm a lot more interested in how this will affect Europe because, because America will be fine, because America is glorious, and as a result, all of the fear-mongering coming from the left is just that, fear-mongering and butthurt, which is glorious. I mean, we can we all get the right to enjoy it, but nevertheless, most of the things won't get worse under Trump. I'm pretty convinced by that. However, this will affect Europe, and it will affect it, I think, overall it will be a positive effect. As I said in my video endorsing Trump, saying time's up, vote Trump, the worldview of the one who occupies the White House matters. It matters because it kind of tends to influence, most of the time quite decisively, who or what worldview gets most attention, most funding, and generally more sway. And after 8 years of a progressive in the White House, we've seen the effects in Europe, particularly in my neck of the woods, in Eastern Europe. Because the White House has been occupied by a hardline, radical progressive, because that's what Obama is. Come on, let's cut to the chase here. Because of that, we've seen an intensification of radical, far-left, progressive activism supported more or less openly by various U.S. embassies taking their orders straight from the White House. I'm assuming that's going to change. I'm not saying that all the U.S. embassies will suddenly become more conservative. I don't think that. For starters, Trump himself is not really a conservative. But I am saying that with a very politically incorrect president, I'm pretty sure that there will be far less there will be less tempting for various U.S. ambassadors in Poland, in Romania, in Hungary, whatever, and of course in France, especially in France, where they're having a lot of socially conservative debates these days. There will be a lot less tempting for them to come in and try to sway the public discussion, the public debate towards the progressive, to make it more progressive leaning, basically. So yeah, in that regard, I'm very happy. I don't think that Trump will make America great again. Again, I'll very, very, very gladly eat these words, and I'll gladly accept if I'm proven wrong. I want America to be great again. I just don't think Trump is necessarily the best person to do it. However, again, we don't go to war with the army we hope. We go to the war with the army we have. With that said, I'm pretty sure Trump is going to commit at least one huge mistake, and that's where the litmus test will come. Whether who amongst non-leftists will just come out and say, "Mr. Trump, you're wrong on this one. The President Trump is wrong on this one." The thing is that what I'm hoping that what I'm afraid of, and yeah, maybe I should say what I'm afraid of. I don't want a personality cult developing and a silencing veil to be cast upon, and I don't think it will happen. I mean, I kind of fear about it, but I don't think it will happen, because just as I said in my endorsement video, by virtue of him breathing, Mr. Trump will have made the media great again. I'm pretty sure he will be scrutinized at every single step, which is great. I mean, the framers thought the system to be more or less gridlock and less about getting things done, as they like to call it, and that's great. I mean, it has to be gridlock, and scrutinizing Trump is per se a good thing. I mean, after all, if he seems to be listening, and that's probably one of the aspects that got him elected and got him voted in many areas where no Republican ever hoped to get a majority. He seems to be listening, which is a feature that didn't occur in Mrs. Clinton and in last 2 or 3 years in Mr. Obama. He seems to listen, and he seems to, at the very least, be willing to take into consideration other ideas. Yeah, sure, he's rambunctious. He's sometimes literally a buffoon, but so what? You can't just hope, oh, I'm not going to like this individual because we could have gotten better. Yeah, well, you can't. You couldn't, because it is what it is. Time to accept reality. Time to, I don't want to say it like that, but I have to. Time to man up, basically. So yeah, that's pretty much all that comes to mind right now after 12, 13, well, actually it's more than almost 14 hours of being me, basically, of being a news junkie, looking at everything, live coverage, doing all the math and whatnot. After I'm done publishing this video, I'll probably get a long sleep and then spend many hours for the rest of this week watching almost exclusively far left content, and then, I don't know, maybe make videos about the very outrageous and insane things that I'll be locating, that I'll be finding myself watching or reading. But nevertheless, we should, all of us on the non-leftist side of the aisle, we should take at least a week, not necessarily to celebrate, I'm not going to celebrate necessarily, but to enjoy the almost endless stream of butthurt that has already started. And again, here in Europe, the left has already started its huge factory, its huge plant of butthurt. They're producing more butthurt per second than they have produced in the last 2 months or 3 months combined. Brexit will be just a distant memory by the end of this week. By the end of this week, we'll be having more leftist butthurt to deal with than we've had for Brexit in an entire month. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, we shouldn't be going that long. So yeah, that's pretty much it. This was an impromptu video, no script, no nothing. Soon enough, there will be another 2 videos that are scheduled to be published on this channel. One of them is a periodic insanity video, and one of them is also something related to gender insanity, whatever. I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope you enjoyed those ones too. I'll be making at least one more video in Romanian on the Romanian language channel in this weekend, another weekend podcast. And other than that, I don't know for sure what else I'll be doing this. Well, of course, and Friday the weekly podcast on AVFM. So yeah, that's pretty much what to expect. If I find enough leftist butthurt and have enough time to make some more recent content, I'll be doing it this week too. If not, probably the next week will be pretty much a flood, at least 10 or 15 videos, because there are definitely going to be a lot of subjects a lot of topics to talk about after following Trump's election. So yeah, thank you all for watching. It's been a long night. It's been a long campaign. It's been a long battle of ideas. We really do deserve a rest, and then a very good laugh, at least for this week. Starting from next week, there's going to be again politics to do, and there's a lot of work ahead of us, both in Europe and and North America, and the United States in particular, because in Canada, well, yeah. That's all I had to say. Thank you for watching. Cheers. Oh, and P.S. I had to do it using this mic. I kind of dislike this mic. I almost hate it. But it's the only mic that I have right now that can decently record me without recording the entirety of the background noise. Because, well, the other side of the apartment is under construction right now because they're modifying something, and in this particular room there's a lot of noise coming from the outside because, well, it's early in the morning, everyone wants to go to work. So yeah.